Hello, welcome to the Poverty Franchise Podcast. My name is PJ, and today we are going to be doing an NFL season preview, mainly because I almost forgot to do one. But today we'll go through each division, pick a division winners, and I'll try to ballpark 3 wild cards. I'm probably going to always over allocate slots for the wild card, and now that I know there's 3, I'll probably say like 5 teams or wild card teams, and then say all 5 will make the wild card by accident in that division. I'm sorry that error, but let's just jump right into it. We're really going to start with the AFC East. First with the New York Jets. They're going to be without Zach Wilson for, I reckon, 4 to 6 weeks. Joe Flacco is going to be leading them in the beginning. Even though their defense looks pretty solid, and I like their head coach. I like Robert Saleh. The offense still looks pretty miserable. They're rebuilding still. They're not winning the AFC East. They're not going to come close. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but they should be better than last year. I don't really think Zach Wilson's the guy, but I'd like to be proven wrong. I don't like to doom these young men into obscurity quickly. So I do hope that I'm wrong about that. But I don't think Zach Wilson, I don't think he'll be the guy yet. That's 100%. I don't think this is the year where he transforms into the player that his draft position merited. I think the only positive thing that can happen this year is he takes a step towards that. And then his third year, he comes out strong. But this year, have fun trying to go for a top 5 pick. Next, the Buffalo Bills to lead off. Matt Ariza has thankfully been cut. From what I'm seeing of the evidence, if it comes out in some way that this is fake, he can come back. But until then, it don't look too good for him. So, it's a punter, but you can always replace him. He's a good punter, but you're not that good. No one that good. No athlete that good. The other force of the AFC East, I think this is the winner of the division. The only flaw is that their run game last year really was just Josh Allen. And that was it. They're going to need Dalvin Cook's brother James and Devin Singletary to really be that 1-2 punch, get something on the ground going to open up the passing game with Diggs and Gabriel Davis. Hope that's his name. Guy went off against the Chiefs. And then I'm still not a huge fan of paying Von Miller all that money for all that time, but they did need help on their pass rush. And I think Von Miller will help. They're already pretty strong defensive unit. The Dolphins are the most interesting team in the AFC East because they have a very good chance to make one of those 3 wild card spots. However, this is all up to Tua playing good. If this is the year Tua decides he wants to play good, he can put it together this year. I think the dude who looked like Logic as their head coach, I think he's a good coach. That's to be seen. That's also to be seen that he's a first-year coach, but I think he's got something good going on. The defense is solid, but they just need Tua to play good. They got weapons for Tua all around him, but really it's up to them, the offense, to stay out on the field and make sure the defense gets its proper rest so the defense can play better. Last team in the division would be New England. I think Mac Jones can take a next step towards being a good NFL quarterback. The defense has good depth. The wide receiver core is very suspect. Tight end and running back, they're really solid. They can make a run at the wild card for sure this season, along with the Dolphins. They'll just have to have a couple good breaks go their way. I just don't think that of all the years, this is really it. I mean, as you've seen, the Patriots have been very poor with drafting in the past few years. They've only had a couple decent dudes come out of it. Of the draft, really Damian Jones, the running back, and forget what corner it is was the other one. But they were about the only 2 who really showed up in their last for first, second, and third round picks. I mean, Your biggest miss is probably N'Keal Harry because he's on the Bears now. So I just say all you need to know. And but you got dudes like Hunter Henry. You have a 1,000-yard receiver in Devontae Parker, but that's really your only weapon out wide. You have a lot of decent guys, right? Nelson Aguilar is decent, Kendrick Bourne is decent. They're all decent guys. And the line is okay. So it's really going to be up for the defense to stay healthy. They got good dudes on there. Anchored by Matthew Judon, Devin McCourty. You got good dudes. The problem is, really the main issue with this team will be, can they get going on offense consistently? It's Damian Harris. They got a good run game, but again, it's going to come back to the quarterback play and the receivers, I think, and the health as well. Also, going back to the Dolphins, Byron Jones was going to miss the first 4 games. That's going to hurt a little bit for the first 4 games of the season for the Dolphins, because we also have NFL cuts happening soon, so I'm keeping my phone up just in case one happens that I like to talk about. But it's going to really be up to them to decide if they want to win. But dude, odds of the Patriots making the wild card over the Dolphins, I think they're a better coach team. I think their team might be a little bit better all around than the Dolphins, but I think it's going to be a tough division. That's not going to be a cakewalk for the Bills, who I still think are going to win the division, but I think the Bills comfortably win this division. I'm going to go... I have faith in Tua finding it, but I'm still going to go New England 2, Dolphins 3, Jets bringing up the rear in the East. Now, next one I want to look into would be the AFC North. This is the first of 2 hell divisions, I call them, where all 4 teams actually have an okay shot of winning the division if stuff breaks the right way or the wrong way. Starting with the Baltimore Ravens. If they can stay healthy, they probably win the division. They just have the worst injury record in football for the past 2 seasons. So, they gotta stay healthy. That's it. If they don't stay healthy, they're gonna get eaten alive by this division. They have to figure out this Lamar contract situation. It's not a good spot to have your star QB mad. It's not a good look, really. They're getting back J.K. Dobbins. The receiver core is still kind of weak. They still have one of the best tight ends in football, and their defense is still really solid. They just got to stay healthy. That's it. That's really it, and they'll be fine. They're getting Ronnie Staley back, who's finally going to see if he was worth that extension the whole time. It's really up to the medical team at the Ravens and luck to keep these dudes afloat, but I think they play a hard-nosed style brand of football. Harbaugh is a great coach. I don't know the first names. I always get them mixed up, so I'm just going to ignore that for now, of the Harbaugh brothers. And I think they have a really good team. The receiving core is probably their only weakness. But I think pieces like quarterback and the defense are better than the Patriots I just discussed. So if they stay healthy, even if they don't win the division, they fall to who I think is probably the more likely winner, which would be the Bengals if all things are equal. They're for sure getting one of those 3 wild card spots if they stay healthy. So they're playing playoff ball if they're healthy. If they're not, they're missing the playoffs. On to the second team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The issues holding them back would be their O-line and QB. The O-line was pretty abysmal last year. If coaching and the additions that they made in the offseason fix that, the QB play will matter less. If those didn't get fixed, the QB play will matter a lot more. I actually believe that Mitchell Trubisky will start most of the season. I truly hope he does. And I also think Mason Rudolph will be traded. They have a great 1-2 punch at running back with Najee Harris and Benny Snell Jr. Their wide receiver core, George Pickens legitimately is going to be in prison or will go for 1,000 yards. Chase Claypool is still a great deep threat. Deontay Johnson, he's got him for 2 more years. Pat Freiermuth's a dangerous red zone threat. And defense is coming back with almost everyone. Plus Miles Jack. So, go get them. The defense is a Super Bowl contender. The offense is what's going to hold this team back. If Mitch Trubisky was held back as much. I don't think Mitch Trubisky is like a Joe Burrow. He's no superstar QB. But if he was held back as much as I think Matt Nagy did hold him back, I think Mitch Trubisky can get this team to the playoffs and to them winning the division. If I'm wrong about that, which I very well could be, and they pull him, you better hope Kenny Pickett is that first round pick potential, because I don't think he was a first round pick. I get why y'all did it. It was the marketing. He was the hometown guy. He played at Pitt. His college career was great, especially his last season. He really lit it up. I think he's an interesting talent. And I think with a couple years of good marination on benches, soaking up knowledge, learning playbooks, learning the NFL pace, I think there's actually a chance for him to be a solid QB. But I think throwing him to the fire, especially the Pittsburgh sports media fire, is not that route. I know he's kind of used to it already, playing in the college scene, but I don't know. Yinzers are different. My final prediction on Pittsburgh is I actually think they will make the playoffs. I think since the Ravens have the fat injury tag on them because they get hurt every year the past 2 seasons, I think the Steelers won't happen, and I think the offensive skill position talent can keep the offense on the field long enough for the defense to get proper rest, and the defense can give the offense short fields on the other side of the ball. So I think the Steelers will come in second in the division no matter what. They're either coming in second or third. They're not going to bring up the rear, and they're not going to win the division. Because I think the Ravens and Bengals have more talent on their team, but more can go wrong with each of those teams as well. I think, positively, moving on to the next team, the Browns are actually going to bring up the rear in the division because I don't think Jacoby Brissett can keep the offense afloat for those 11 games Deshaun Watson is suspended. I truly do not think. I bounce back and forth on it. I don't think he has it. I like Jacoby Brissett, but I don't think, especially in this division, that you can. 6 games was fine. 6 games was fine because you could have gone 3-3. You still have Deshaun for 11 games. You only have Deshaun for 6 games. He's going to be coming in cold. Thankfully, it's against the Texans, who are competing for the number 1 overall pick. So that's a good tune-up game. But still, I think in this disgusting division, I think the Browns will come up in those 11 games are going to hurt, no matter how good the defense is, the run game, the receivers who they've added. I don't think it's enough for them to keep the tread water in this division. And if Jacoby Brissett gets hurt, all you have Josh Dobbs coming in next. That's not good. I like your one. I mean, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt 1-2 option at running back is great. Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Bell at wide receiver, great options. And Njoku at tight end, great. The line is still kind of questionable for the Browns. The defense, Clowney and Garrett, great. Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Greg Newsome II. I like all of these guys. I really do. I like the Browns defense, but I don't think it's as good as the Steelers defense. First thing. I think they're about equal to the Ravens defense, but they don't have this dynamic threat in Lamar Jackson or the dynamic threat in Mark Andrews as well. I like Njoku. I like Amari Cooper. I think they're great players, but I don't think either of them rise to the level of a Mark Andrews on that offense. And I think the Browns are worse coached than the Ravens, so I think that's their downfall. On to the last team in the first Hell division, the Cincinnati Bengals, coming off their Super Bowl appearance. They're running it back. Did they fix the line? That's to be seen. They added Alex Kappa and La'el Collins. That, and with better coaching, better O-line coaching, better fine-tuning by the coordinator and Zach Taylor, I think this is it. I think they can go back. I think they can definitely. I think the Bengals are running for a first-round bye. If health doesn't get too bad, because everyone in the NFL gets injured, right? You're going to lose someone important over the course of an NFL season. It's just how it is in the NFL. The question is how many of those where it happens, that's where it is. And, I mean, you're coming back with the same people, basically. And the defense still looks good. The offense still looks great. You're coming back with the same deadly receiving core, plus you're getting a good second-string tight end in Hayden Hurst, and you fix the one problem that is the line. I think Jackson Carman's going to really have to step up at guard this season for the Bengals. I think that's the real missing piece. If the line can work as a good unit, can survive health wise, and they just don't get caught in doing the same thing trap. Zach Taylor has to prove he's a good head coach this year, and he's not just has a talented team. He has to adapt because teams know they're coming this year. But I think with the talent they have and how talented that talent is, I think Zach Taylor can rise to the occasion with this because he can do what his offensive sets or whatever. That you can't double team Jamar Chase with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd on the field. You just can't. And the line's going to have to open up the run game for Joe Mixon to run a bit more, too, and get more yards on the ground. That'll open up the passing game even further. I think the defense will flip the field good, and you got to keep your defense off the field. Sustain some drives. But I think the Bengals have a good chance of making the first-round bye in the NFC, in the AFC. I think they'll be right there with the Bills, competing for that number one seed in the AFC. The playoffs. Now on to I think the weakest division in the AFC. The South. The AFC South. Starting with the Texans, their number one overall pick fodder. Lovie Smith, God be with you, lad. I like Davis Mills, but he's going with a coach who's not very QB developmental friendly. And I think David Mills has a chance, or David Mills. I'm gonna get that confused for the rest of my life, by the way. Don't worry about it. Also, hydrate, water. The offense doesn't actually look too bad. If David Mills can get it a little bit together, Damian Pierce at running back, Laramie Tunsil anchoring the line, Brandon Cooks out wide. They're pretty thin. So if anything goes wrong, sayonara. Oh, and you got Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead. It's a pretty solid wide receiver, probably running back room. Wide receiver room, it's thin. I will admit, tight end, thin. Line, Titus Howard's. We'll see how he does. Defense, unadulterated dog shit, except for Derek Stingley. You better hope he develops. I mean, y'all signed Desmond King. Again, good luck, Texans. Have fun. Hope Mills plays good. It is Davis Mills. Shit. I'm saying David. It is Davis. Davis Mills plays good. Enough so that first overall pick is a defensive player or a lineman. Or you don't finish last and you can get a lineman or a defensive player to anchor to start rebuilding your defense. I think Lovie Smith will get the most out of that lack of talent group for that defense. I really do. But it's not going to be good enough at all. Even in this shit division, the Texans are cannon fodder. So, good luck. Also, all AFC West, I'll get to them in a second. The Colts. I think the Colts are going to win this week division. I think they have the best. Their defense is the best in the division. They have one of the better defenses in the league. The season really rides on two main aspects. Can Matt Ryan still play good? And can Jonathan Taylor continue being a terror? The line is set, right? It's really going to be up to, can Matt Ryan make the throws that Carson Wentz couldn't make? The plays that Carson Wentz couldn't make, avoid the bad decisions that Carson Wentz made that put the team in a bad position. Can Frank Reich wipe off the mud and the filth that was that last game loss to the Jags to miss the playoffs and can remotivate the men? I think they can do it. I really do. The defense is a force. Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner, Stephen Gilmore, like you got studs on the Colts defense. They should eat in this division. They should. So Yannick Ngakoue, you got Kwity Paye, you got guys. You got real guys out there, and pray James Kelce doesn't get cut today. I think he'll be a solid contributor. Clemson blood, you know how it is, but I think that's the only thing stopping them. Is also keep French fries together as backups, please keep French fries alive. And you have underrated talents like Mo Alley Cox, a dangerous red zone threat at tight end, the converted VCU basketball player. I really like Mo Alley Cox. I think he'll take a good step this year, but just stay healthy. Holy shit, y'all! Nick Foles as backup, that's a curse. I forgot about that. But I think with Matt Ryan, will do the things that Carson Wentz couldn't do. I think the Colts will win the division and make the playoffs. They're getting no first round bye or anything like that. I don't think they're that good. But, yeah. Now, on to the Titans. I think Tannehill's about done in Tennessee. I think that's kind of it. I think by week 6, Tannehill would have run out of his leash. I don't think Vrabel likes him anymore. I don't think the management likes him anymore. This is all speculation. And Tannehill made a big faux pas in the profession that is football. A, your job is insecure, and B, you always look out for the guy below you, right? I know some bigger quarterbacks have been mad that it's not my job to train the dude. It's your job to help the team succeed. Even if it sounds really bad, because in a selfish world where we always have to look out for ourselves, you're really training your replacement, right? But that's the nature of the game. That's the nature of professional sports. And I think it's your duty, not your duty, but it looks good. And hey, when you run out of that starting talent juice, it can keep you employed as a backup, holding a clipboard and getting paid millions of dollars if you're willing to coach the younger guys in your position room. You know, and it can get you into coaching if that's what you want to keep doing. Because, I mean, I know Ryan Tannehill's made a lot of money, but employment is employment. And what he said about Malik Willis is very suspect. I think he'll be replaced by Malik Willis by week 6 or 7. I think Tannehill doesn't have it. As much as Derrick Henry is a force, Brian Tannehill's holding that team back. Now, do I think Malik Willis has what it takes to get that team into a wild card spot this year? If he was thrown into the fire? No. I think they build around him and Derrick Henry and their underrated defense, get some supporting weapons outside on the outside. But Derrick Henry isn't enough to get that team to a wild card. As much as I like Exotic Smash, I thought was the last regime. But Mike Vrabel as a coach and the Titans, I just don't think that highly of them this year. I just don't. But the division is weak. Could they snag that third wild card spot? Possibly, but the problem is the two hell divisions are also in the AFC. Has happened to be. And I think all the wild card spots are going to come from those two divisions, most likely, which is going to be the AFC North and the AFC West, which we're going to talk about now. Oh shit, the Jaguars. I forgot about Jacksonville. Sorry, Trevor Lawrence. Just develop them. Don't play for the first overall pick. If everyone looks better, that's a success. You're not making the playoffs. I hope Travis Etienne comes back from that Liz Frank surgery the same person. I hope Trevor Lawrence develops, because I don't want them to ruin. Christian Kirk better be good. If he doesn't, I don't think he will be. But again, I like to be proven wrong about my negative predictions. Christian Kirk better go for over 1,200 yards and like 10 TDs. Or you pay, what the fuck? Defense has a lot of decent depth guys with proper coaching. I think they're an average unit. They're an average unit with pretty okay pieces. Like the other Josh Allen is there. I'm trying to think of the other ones real fast. Sorry, I got on the top of my list. It wasn't in my notes, the specific names. Shaquille Griffin at corner, decent. Josh Allen, I like him. You got okay guys that can maybe take the next step. Mainly just keep Trevor Lawrence upright. He's got a lot of okay weapons with Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones Jr., Zay Jones, Evan Ingram if he doesn't drop the ball 50 times a game. Sorry for the background noise. Let me finish. Appreciate it. But yeah, just rebuild, retool after the disaster that was Urban Meyer. Have fun. Doug Peterson, I have faith in you, man. Don't fuck it up. Now we're on to the Hell Division, 2 of 2. AFC West, Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are the weakest team in this division. That's not a knock on them. I just think that they have the weakest QB of the bunch. They have good supporting weapons. I mean, you got Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Devontae fucking Adams, Hunter Renfrow. The only thing that's holding back the Raiders would be their offensive line and the health of Jacobs and Waller. The defense has, and then this goes for every AFC West team, so I'm going to repeat myself. The defense has to find a way to limit the firepower of the rest of their division. They can't stop them. We're going to throw that notion out the window. Slow them down enough, or the offense is going to have to win shootouts. And that is it. I think the Raiders have the weakest offensive line of the 4 teams in this division, which is saying a lot because the Chiefs do exist. And I think overall, their QB play is the worst. They do have probably the second best run game in the division, so get that going for them. I think they're the team that misses out. I think so, and I'm sorry to say that. That's my prediction on it. The Broncos, their only problem last year was quarterback. Their offense was awful. Their defense was the top 10 unit in the league. So if Russell Wilson can extend after the first 6 games of the season of MVP caliber play, the Broncos legit can win the division. But I think they'll come in second. And I think the team that's going to come in first is actually not you see, that's why I don't want to say something that controversial. The Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes, which means they're the favorites, right? I still think they can also finish second or third. It's the problem with this division. I think the Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers will all be in the playoffs. I think 2 of the wild cards are coming from this division. That's how good I think it is. I think the other wild cards are going to probably be the Steelers or Ravens. Would be the Steelers, Ravens, or Bengals would be the other wild card in the AFC. The defense still looks good. The receiver room, looking at it, it has the potential to go back to when the Chiefs did not have a receiver. They're not going to be that bad. Where the 2015 season, I think, where the wide receiver did not catch a touchdown pass for the whole season. They're not that bad, but the wide receiver, they have the weakest wide receiver room in the division. But the run game was good. They still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have Andy Reid helming the ship. They're just gonna have to win. Now they're just gonna have to win shootouts. And last but not least, the Chargers. They're gonna be road warriors the whole year because the Chargers have no fans. Again, sorry to say that. I think they have the best defense in the division. Which, if they're coached well and the Chargers' luck doesn't strike them, I think their defense will do the best at limiting the firepower. It's up to Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, and those guys to get at it and win football games. And the line needs to hold up. They can't let Justin Herbert get hit. But I'm not going to be a bitch about it. My final prediction for it, I'm probably going to go Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders bringing up the rear. And that's my final 4 for that. Please, it's probably going to be flipped. The Chiefs are probably going to finish last or some shit, and I'm just going to be depressed. Now, on to the much comparatively weaker, the NFC. Starting with the NFC East. I think the NFC East is a 2-horse race between the Cowboys and Eagles. The Eagles did just get Gardner Johnson, the safety from the Saints, and they've pretty much filled every position of need with starting caliber players. So my original prediction, actually before I filmed this, so like a couple hours ago, was the Cowboys are going to win the division. I think the Cowboys will get the first one of the wild cards, and the Eagles will win the division. The Cowboys have to overcome, Tyron Smith being hurt, the line being hurt. I think the defense is solid. The run game, I think, is where the Cowboys will really, and then the passing attack too. Can Dak Prescott not be Tony Romo, who runs a little bit? Can Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, the 1-2 combo, finally get the Cowboys' ground attack? And can the line hold up for the ground attack and the passing game to develop? And keep the defense on the bench resting up where they should be? That's to be determined. I think the other 2 teams in the defense in the conference, not good enough to really warrant conversation about them. Like, about the move and just get the Giants. Just tank, get a QB, get the first overall pick. The defense doesn't look too bad, though. I will admit, defense does not look bad. Get some linemen, get a QB, come back next year. Washington, the defense looks good. Chase Young's going to be out those first 4 games, but I think they should weather the storm on that end. Carson Wentz is still Carson Wentz, and I'm glad to hear that Brian Robinson's out the hospital. I hope he plays football this year because he looked real decent from what I saw of him in the preseason. From what I saw him in college. But Carson Wentz is still Carson Wentz. Even with all those weapons, Carson Wentz will still do Carson Wentz things. I used to be a proud subscriber to the Church of Pennsylvania. I really was. Before that leg injury, he was truly he was a great talent. I don't think he's ever been the same since then. So the Commanders, I Thing is, Ron Rivera's last hurrah there. I think if Carson Wentz comes out better than expected, they have a chance to win the division and make the playoffs. But I don't have any faith in Carson Wentz. So I think they're gonna finish third in the division. Lastly, the Eagles. There's a good chance they will win the division. If Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew deciding how bad one play is, injuries holds up, they'll be fine. They'll win the division. They have the best all around team. I think Hurts and Gardner have peaked as quarterbacks, so gotta kind of got what you get for. I think they can take a little steps forward, but nothing like to elite level play. The defense is great though. Like sneakily, big play slate, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Gardner Johnson just come in there. Like defense look good. Defense look real good. So Howie Roseman, you saved your job, GM. I respect that. On to the NFC North. The Packers will win the division. That pains me to say. They will win the division. I can't fucking sugarcoat it. Aaron Rodgers is still a bad fucking man, and he lost Devontae Adams. I get that. I truly do. But, no disrespect to Jordy Nelson, but Jordy Nelson wasn't, like, physically, like, a specimen. So, like, he's had weaker cute wide receiver rooms, and he still won football games. And he has some good up-and-coming rookies, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Samuel Torre. If they can stay on his good side, plus, you still have Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb's back. If they can stay on his good side, I think they'll be fine. But staying on Aaron Rodgers' good side is kind of a tough ask as well. I think Christian Watson, and they have Sammy Watkins too, so I think Christian Watkins I have a lot of hope for and being a good player. Plus the running game, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon 1-2 combo, it's fucking dangerous. Robert Tonyan at tight end, old-ass Mercedes Lewis still around. The line is a question mark in terms of how healthy they can stay. The defense is just as strong as ever. They got rid of King. They got rid of that burnt toast. Darnell Savage, Amos, Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, Rashawn Gray, Quay Walker, Preston Smith, Kenny Clark. All the dudes are coming back. The NFC North is, it's okay. Amari Rodgers in the slot. Please get more PT, just for Clemson's sake, but don't do good against the Bears. Don't. Brings me to the Bears. No chance. We're not making the playoffs. I wish we were, but I think Justin Fields will have a much better season. Oh, and back really quickly, Alex Leatherwood did get traded. Not traded, he got cut. And no team wanted him. And that says a lot, because there's a lot of teams with shit O-lines out there. So that was kind of expected. The Raiders line, it's not going to be great. But I think they'll be okay. Justin Fields will take a great step forward. I think Darnell Mooney's going to be force-fed the ball. I hope Velus Jones Jr. out the slot is good. And then the pass rush is ass. It's ass. Roquan, I like Robert Quinn, Roquan, Jalen Johnson. I have lots of faith in Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon just being decent this year. I think Brisker and where did I put them in the reverse orders that they were drafted? But I think Brisker and Eddie Jackson will make a strong pairing at safety. I think with Brisker's kind of more in the box safety, hard hitting style. Eddie Jackson can go back to ball hawking and creating turnovers again. And holy shit, it's not Kendall Vildor starting next year, so I'm happy. The wide receiver room is somehow even more ass than the pass rush, and it's literally Equimius St. Brown is like our number 2 receiver. Like I can't like really. We have Byron Pringle. Like we're really relying on like number 4 and 5 dudes, for the exception of Darnell Mooney, who in the best is like a number 2 guy. And hey, at least we have a good 1-2 combo at running back with David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. Cut Nathan Peterman, thank God. Trevor Siemian, back home, Northwestern alum. But not making the playoffs. Probably a top 10 overall pick again. Here we come, but we need it. So it is what it is. The Lions, I think Dan Campbell is actually a good enough coach to make the playoffs. I just don't think he has the QB. I think he has a lot of the other pieces. I think the defense is coming together. The offensive supporting pieces, like TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Quimius' brother, DJ Chark, and the line look okay, like Penny Sewell. I just don't think Jared Goff's your man. I think they need to find a quarterback. If that's Jimmy Garoppolo next year, that's Jimmy Garoppolo next year. If it's paying Lamar Jackson an absorbent amount of money, it's paying Lamar Jackson an absorbent amount of money to leave the Ravens. I just think they need a quarterback. That's it. They just need a QB. And then Jeff Okudah, I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to go nuts this year. And I think Jeff Okudah is either going to develop into a cornerback or he is going to be out the league. And that is all I have to say on the Lions. I like Dan Campbell. Watch Hard Knocks. If you're not, Dan Campbell is a crazy dude, and I love him. Even though he's on a rival division team. The Vikings. They just cut Kellen Mond, so that experiment didn't work. I actually did tweet out on my personal Twitter. Kellen, if you watched Kellen Mond in college, you can tell he was not a pro quarterback. There was just something that was not. I was surprised when he went in the third round because I thought he was like at best a 6th or 7th round pick. I'm not just saying that because I'm happy he got cut. Again, I love to be proven wrong about that stuff. I really do. I just wasn't that time. So it sucks for Kellen. I need to probably find a spot in the league somewhere because you don't give him on a 3rd round pick after 2 years. Especially if they're not like legally wrong, done anything legally wrong, or they're coachable still. They just couldn't have it. There's always a coach who thinks they can find it this early into a career. So the only thing that keeps them in the playoff hunt is Kirk Cousins. And also it's the only thing that keeps them from winning the division is Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook's have to stay healthy. The Lions have to hold up a bit better. The defense is decent. I think they're the definition of an average NFL defense. They're a break, not bend. They're a bend, not break defense. So you're not going to score. You're not going to allow a lot of scoring, but they're going to be on the field a long time, letting long drives happen, tiring them out. Not going to really help you in the clutch situations. But really it comes down to Dalvin Cook stay healthy, the line okay, and can Kirk Cousins not fuck up. I think Kirk Cousins will fuck up. So I think the Vikings will also miss the playoffs. I think no other team in this division is making the playoffs but the Packers. The NFC South. This division is also kind of dog shit. Mainly because the bottom 2 teams are pretty bad. Starting with the Buccaneers. They're running it back. They play in a weak division. They should make the playoffs unless injuries and Tom Brady falls off a cliff, which I don't think is going to happen. Everyone's been saying he's going to fall off a cliff every year. It could happen. He's 45. He's a 45. Anything could fucking happen in that case. I don't think it's going to happen. I think your biggest questions are: can the team survive Ryan Jensen being hurt? And was Todd Bowles held back by the Jets' lack of talent, or was he holding the Jets' talent back? I tend to believe the former, actually. I think Todd Bowles is a good head coach. I don't think he's as good as Bruce Arians. I don't think many coaches are in the league, so that's a high bar to cross. But they have enough talent that even if Todd Bowles was holding back the Jets' talent, holding back the Buccaneers' talent is still enough to make the playoffs. Is it enough to win a Super Bowl? No. It's going to have to be the former where Todd Bowles was being held back by the Jets' talent for them to go back to the Super Bowl. The Saints. They got a new coach. Sean Payton's gone, so got to see how that goes. Team has the talent to make the playoffs, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Even though they traded Gardner Johnson, and maybe get one of those wild card spots. The QB play and the play of the line will be key. Trevor Penning being hurt, not for their first round rookie. They anticipate the start, not a good look. And can Jameis find it? Because Jameis needs to, because Andy Dalton and Ian Book will not win you football games. So Jameis Winston's going to have to do it. And if he can do it, the Saints can make a run at the division with how good their defense is. Especially because playing in New Orleans is a tough fucking task for all 3 of those teams. So the Panthers. The only thing I think holding them back, actually, is Matt Rule. If they fire Matt Rule, I think they'll be good next year. It just depends. Now, I think Baker will find it. I think if Baker is truly healed from his injury, I think they'll be okay. If Christian McCaffrey's healthy, they'll be fine. The defense is sneakily okay as well. I just think I just don't like Matt Rule. I think Matt Rule's a shit head coach for the pros. I think he can go back to college. He can run whatever systems he wants. Be a fucking tyrant to college kids, and he will win games in college. His Baylor comeback is still one of the better things I've ever seen. Not Baylor comeback. His team came back on by Oklahoma is still one of the best college football games I've ever seen. Just seeing how shitty Matt Rule is. The Panthers should forever live with that mistake. They're not making a wild card because they have to beat out teams like the Saints, Eagles, Vikings, 49ers, Cardinals for that wild card spot. I also don't think the 49ers are a Super Bowl contender, as ESPN said about Jimmy G staying. I don't think that we'll get to that in like a second. But I don't think the Panthers have enough to get there. Falcons, just pray Desmond Ridder is good so the number 1 overall pick is a DN. Just pray for that. Marcus Mariota is okay. Please give Grady Jarrett some help. And pray some of the rookies like Drake London and Trey Anderson, their third-round linebacker, I actually have really high hopes for, pan out. Because y'all niggas look like ass. Just like But I have faith in Desmond Ridder. I think at the worst end, he's going to be a decent quarterback. I think Marcus Mariota is not going to start all 16. Well, even if he could, he gets hurt too much. He's not starting all 17 games. So Desmond Ridder will have run this year to see if he is the guy. On to the NFC rest. The 49ers have a really good defense. They have offensive weapons. Is Trey Lance ready? Will Jimmy G or either of those dudes the guys to lead them to the promised land? They were close. The defense is a Super Bowl team. The skill positions are a Super Bowl team. The O-line's a Super Bowl team. Trey Lance and Jimmy G are going to have to get them over the hump. I don't think they can do it. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll finish second in this division, actually. I think they'll be one of the 3 wildcard teams. Also, I'm going to just say the 3 wildcard teams. It's probably going to be the Niners, the Cowboys, and the Saints are going to be my 3 wildcard teams for the NFC, by the way. That's going to be the story of the season. Is Trey Lance was passing on people like Fields and pissing off Jimmy Garoppolo worth it? Is Trey Lance what we thought when we saw at North Dakota State? Do we think that's who he is? We better fucking hope so. The Cardinals. The Kyler Murray drama did not help. D-Hop's going to be out the first 6 weeks. You're throwing to dudes like Andy Isabella. You're throwing, again, you kind of need him to open up. I like how I just picked on Andy Isabella, even though I was one of those people who actually liked Andy Isabella when he was coming out of college. Again, I like my small school guys. The run game okay with James Conner, but you're throwing to Marquise Brown, you're throwing to old-ass A.J. Green, you're throwing to old-ass Zach Ertz, you're throwing to Andy Isabella. You need D-Hop back after those 6 games. You're going to need him. The defense also, they're an older team. The defense has talent, but they're an older team. They're going to be more susceptible to injury. The pass rush looked good, but they're losing one of the better pass rushers of our era in Chandler Jones. That's going to hurt, especially when they have 2 fantastic teams in their division. Other teams, that is. I think the Cardinals are the odd man out. I don't think the Cardinals will make a wild card this year because I actually have no faith in Cliff Kingsbury either. I think they should fire him. Now, it sounds like Andrew Tate there. Shit, sorry. I think they should fire him. Don't mind my laptop. It's just catching on fire. The Rams, I think they'll run back and win the division. I think the Rams, they're bringing everyone back. They lost Van Miller. They're getting their running backs back, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. Allen Robinson is not the OBJ replacement, but he's good enough to pair, especially if you're playing next to Cooper Kupp. But getting Bobby Wagner on the inside is also good. Leonard Floyd's still playing good. They're also on the Cardinals where they're an older team. If they stay healthy, they'll win the division, and they have a chance of running it back and getting to the Super Bowl again. But they're older. I like Sean McVay as a coach. If they stay healthy, they're set. Older teams tend to not do that, though. So make sure to get some good luck and a good health staff on there. The Seahawks, another team in contention for that first overall pick. Defense is kind of ass. Run game kind of ass. Geno Smith and Drew Lock are going to be okay, but they're not getting close to playoffs, let alone the Super Bowl, so not much to really talk about there. So, my 7 playoff teams and my first prediction, and I'll end it with my 7 playoff teams and my first round bye predictions, I guess. So, I think going through the divisions, I think it will be, first we'll go through the divisions, and then I'll choose the wild card and then the first round bye. I think the Bills win the East. I'm going to just say the Bengals are going to win the AFC North. Colts win the AFC South. And I'm going to go Chiefs for the AFC West. The 3 wild cards will be the Chargers, Broncos, and I'm going to go the Dolphins. I'm going to go the Patriots because I don't think Tua is going to succeed. Or the Patriots. I think they're a better coach team. I think the Dolphins will be there next year even if Tua takes a step up. The first round bye will go to the Bills. They play in a bit easier division than the AFC West teams. I also think the Bills will find a way to win this year, and they'll be the Super Bowl representative for the AFC. think very highly of them. I also just doomed them to perpetual sadness. The NFC, I think the Eagles will win the division. The NFC East, the Packers will win the North. Tampa Bay will win the South. And the Rams will win the West. I think the Niners, the Saints, and the Cowboys will be the wild card teams. With the representative of this, I think it will be the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is renewed. It pains me to say that. I still think the Bills will win the Super Bowl in a Bills-Packers matchup. But I think if the Packers don't see the 49ers, they're fine. If they don't see the 49ers in the playoffs, they're good. If they see the 49ers in the playoffs, they're fucked. So if the 49ers are that 7th spot, sayonara Packers. But and then I gotta just do, and then that's pretty much it. I think it'll be a Bills-Packers Super Bowl at the end of the day. I don't think the Buccaneers will get back to the promised land, even though they're running it back. I think the coaching's going to hold them back just a little bit when it really matters. But playoff money in their run game, but I don't think they can go on the road to Lambeau in the NFC Championship. That's my NFC Championship prediction, by the way. And win a game on the road there. But that's pretty much all I have to say about the upcoming NFL season. I will do a separate video for awards predictions and stuff like that, like most improved, MVP. I wanted to separate this video from the normal Poverty Index Sports Roundup because I think the NFL season deserves its own detailed preview. And I want to thank all y'all for listening today. And hope I'm wrong about the young players. I'm probably wrong about a lot I said. It's just all hearsay. We can't predict injury. We can't predict the future. All these NFL players I talk about in the vacuum of the NFL, they're all made it to the top of their percent of the population. I don't mean no disrespect to any of them. And this is just fun. It's fun talking about sports. It's fun predicting. It's fun talking shit with your friends and talking shit with y'all about football, sports, stuff like that. To whatever team you like, good luck for the season. Hope it's just enjoyable football at the bare minimum. Hope the things you want to see happen, even some of the things you don't want to see happen, because that's the beauty of the National Football League. It's been PJ. Stay hydrated on the Poverty Franchise Podcast. Signing off. Have a good day.